responsible. So Nanda Maharaj was still very eager to have Gargamuni perform this auspicious function. So he proposed that let's just do it in a secret place then. Let's not abandon the ceremony. And so you can do this without external pomp, without a lot of tarak barak, they say, without a lot of, is that the expression, tarak barak? Yeah. Without a lot of pomp and show, just secretly. And so the ceremony was performed in the cowshed. Yes. So then he began disclosing that this son of Rohini will be very pleasing to his family members. So he'll be called Ram, and he'll be very powerful. So he'll be called Baladev. And because there's an intimate connection between your family and the Yadu family, he'll be called Sankarshan. Sankarshan means pulling together, attracting. So he gave three names, Balaram, Sankarshan, and Baladev. But he didn't disclose that Balaram had been transferred from the womb of Devaki. Then he told about Krishna, first about Krishna's past lives. He's taken different bodily complexions in different yugas, white, red, yellow, and now he's assumed the black color. This verse is important. It indicates the identity of the Yuga avatars. And from this description, Sanatana Goswami could understand that, he asked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was describing the various expansions of the Lord, various incarnations of the Lord, Manvantara avatars, Leela avatars, Purusha avatars, Guna avatars. So when he came to Yuga avatars, he described everything. And when he described the Yuga avatars, Sanatana Goswami could understand that that's you. You're that yellow incarnation. Black incarnation we know is Krishna, white and red incarnations have appeared. So you must be that yellow or golden incarnation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, don't be tricky, let's go on and talk about the Manvantara avatars. Gargamuni said that he was formerly the son of Vasudeva, and therefore his name should be Vasudeva. This is Sanskrit grammar. The son of Vasudeva is called Vasudeva. Yes. That's the... Some people will call him Krishna, some will call him Vasudeva. He'd be called Giridhari. This question came up the other day that Krishna was addressed by different names pertaining to pastimes he hadn't performed yet. So here, the names were already there and Gargamuni knew them. It's just a question of time. Like Prabhupada was sitting on the park bench and yes, we have many centers all over the world. Only time is separating us. And he'll be very popular in Vrindavan. He'll bring you all good fortune. and you'll overcome all material calamities. In his past birth, she protected many righteous persons from the hands of rogues and thieves. And he's so powerful that anyone who takes shelter of him will be beyond trouble from enemies. As Lord Vishnu protects the demigods, your son will protect his devotees, like Narayan. He'll be just like Narayan in protecting his devotees. So Nanda Maharaj could understand in this way that practically my son is Narayan, or he's on the same level as Narayan. But then Gargamuni advised you should protect him very carefully. What, I'm a coward man, I'm going to protect Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Yes, you have to do it very carefully. These are the actions of Yogamaya. Why do I have to protect Narayan? He should protect me. But Gargamuni, no, therefore Gargamuni is also said to have that mood of parental love. As a senior, just as the elderly gopis, older gopas have some parental feeling for Krishna, a Gargamuni also, that you have to protect him very carefully. So that was the name-giving ceremony, and Nanda Maharaj thought that he was very fortunate to have such a son. And then we hear about Krishna's pastimes, Krishna and Balaram, as babies. They began to crawl on their hands and knees, and they had bells tied to their waists and their ankles, and the bells made a fascinating sound. This is how it is. The parents are fascinated by the child. Oh, see how he's moving, see how he's walking, see how he's trying to speak. See, they become fascinated by all these things. And this is Maya. Simply this is my child, and fascinated by body. But when it's Krishna, then this is a function of the spiritual energy and transcendental exchanges of love. So sometimes they'd fall into the clay and mud, and they'd be approach their mothers all. It's like kids, they go play and then they come back home and they're all grimy and full of who knows what, stickers from the sticker bushes and mud and whatever. And they mothers have to clean them up. And the mothers would be suckling the child, and they'd see the small teeth coming in. That's more pleasure in seeing how the child is growing. And sometimes they'd crawl up to the cow shed, catch a calf by the tail, no riding, being dragged here and there through the clay and the cow dung. And Yashoda and Rohini would call the neighbors, such a scene. And everyone would laugh and enjoy these pastimes of Balaram and Krishna. And Rohini and Yashoda would always have to be protecting them from monkeys and bulls and water and fire and birds, and at the same time be carrying out their household duties. So Prabhupada said they weren't very peaceful. They didn't have tranquility. And Bhagavad Gita, Ashantasya kuta sukham. If one is not peaceful, how can he be happy? But here, their anxiety for Krishna and Balaram was a source of transcendental happiness. Then Krishna and Balaram began to walk, and they joined other friends of the same age. And then more mischief. And so the gopis, older, cowherd women, came as a group to lodge complaints against Krishna. And actually, Srila Prabhupada explained it, and of course they did it in Krishna's presence. So we're going to tell about Krishna's activities, and he's going to sit there and listen. So Prabhupada explained that actually this was a transcendental pleasure for them. Essentially, it was kirtan. We're going to sit here and tell about the wonderful activities of Krishna, but it'll be in the form of a complaint. We're just as we're hearing these activities in the form of a complaint. Your boy does this, your boy does that. And we're thinking, oh, it's so wonderful. They performed all these wonderful activities. Even the gopis were appreciating, actually, these wonderful activities. And therefore they were performing kirtan. They let loose the calves before the milking time. They smashed the butter pots. They make holes in the pots if we hang them from the rafters. They distribute to the monkeys, and then when the monkeys are full, your butter is bad, even the monkeys won't take it. Then they find things even in the dark by their jewels. All right, I'll take away the jewels. No, don't take away their jewels. They've got some sort of effulgence, so it won't help. So in this way, all these things are going on. And Yashoda would see the face of Krishna, and Krishna would be sitting there just like a good boy, and also the boy that you wouldn't want to punish. So she would just look at the boy and melt. Then one time when Krishna and Balaram were playing, all the boys lodged a complaint with Yashoda Mai that Krishna was eating earth. He was eating mud, clay. So, and just like, at least in America, it's like, Krishna's eating earth, Krishna's eating earth. Right? Is that how they, in other countries also, right? So, like, na 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 na. So they were complaining, Krishna's eating earth, Krishna's eating earth. And then Krishna, Yashoda Mai catches hold of Krishna, says, are you eating earth? See, all your friends are complaining, even Balaram's complaining. No, we had a disagreement today, so they're trying to get me in trouble. Even Balaram, he wants to get me in trouble, so they're lying about me. So that you'll get angry and chastise me. So Yashoda Mai said, all right, let's see. Open your mouth, let's see. So, open your mouth, let's see. So Krishna opens his mouth and she sees all the opulence of creation. She sees outer space, all the directions, mountains, islands, oceans, seas, planets, air, fire, the moon, the stars, and the elements, up through ether, ego, the senses, basically all the categories of Sankhya philosophy, the sense objects, the senses, the mind, the ego, the material, gross elements, subtle elements. She sees everything within the mouth of Krishna. She sees the demigods, the three modes of nature. She saw time. She saw all living entities. Everything. And she saw herself there taking Krishna on her lap and Krishna sucking her breast. So she began to wonder, am I dreaming? Or actually seeing this? Then she thought it must be the arrangement of God's illusory energy. That must be the explanation. Then she worried, well, maybe I've become mad. I've gone crazy. So what will happen now? So she offers her obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's beyond consciousness, the mind, work, philosophical speculation, whose energies produce everything. And let me offer my respects to his God's illusory energy, by whose power I'm thinking that, let me offer my respects to the Lord, whose illusory energy makes me think that I'm the queen of Braja, that Nanda Maharaj is my husband, that everything here belongs to me, these people are my subjects. So she's thinking in this very high philosophical way, Prabhupada said. And then Krishna expands his internal energy, and she becomes filled again with maternal affection, and just thinks of Krishna as her son. So certainly, she and Nanda Maharaj must have performed so many pious activities. But how is it that Devaki and Vasudeva couldn't enjoy these childhood activities? Then Shukadeva Goswami explains that the Vasu's Drona and Tara, his wife, ordered to create progeny by Lord Brahma, prayed for blessings to be absorbed in love for Krishna. And so Drona appeared as Nanda Maharaj and Tara as Yashoda. One might ask how it is that the eternal mother and father of Krishna underwent these austerities to become the parents of Krishna. We've heard that they're always Krishna's parents. So how could they have become Krishna's parents? By performing austerities. Jiva Goswami explains this. Now I have to get it right, it's a little complicated, but basically an expansion of the original Nanda and Maharaj and Yashoda from Vrindavan appear as portions appear as Drona and Tara. Drona and Tara perform austerities and penances. And then when the show is over, they merge back into their source, into Nanda Yashoda. Okay, are there some comments or questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Maharaj. I was wondering if you get your astrological chart read and something is deemed inauspicious coming up in the near future, should we take that seriously, or can we change the circumstances if we're chanting Hare Krishna?
If there's something inauspicious in your chart, should you take it seriously? Is there something you should do? The first thing is there's charts and there's charts, as I mentioned before. During Kartik, there was some fellow sitting out here on the road behind Krishna Balaram, behind the MBT, in front of the MBT. I'm sure he must be the best astrologer all of UP. So that's one thing. We never know how good these people are or not so good they might be. And another thing is, yes, by devotional service, one time Giriraj Maharaj went to make members in Bombay, and one prospective member, I think, was also an astrologer, among other things. And so he wanted to read the palms of the devotees. So he read Giriraj Maharaj's palm and said that in the future he would leave Krishna consciousness. So Giriraj Maharaj was quite disturbed. And then he later went to Prabhupada and said, this is what the palmist has said. And Prabhupada said, by 3 claps before the deities, all the lines in your hands change. So the devotee is under the protection of Krishna. Someplace in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, maybe somebody remembers, says that like in the devotee's chart, the Krishna planet is in every house. So in that way, the devotee is protected. Another thing is that for the devotee, everything becomes auspicious. If you read the chart of Yudhisthira Maharaj, you'd find that he was destined to lose his kingdom and be banished to the forest for 14 years, and all of that. That is so many things you find. But that's all auspicious because it comes because he comes within the protection of Krishna. What's inauspicious can become auspicious. Shall I tell you some of the inauspicious things in my chart? I have signs for interrupted education. So I left school and joined the Hare Krishna movement. I'll never have any family happiness. And I'll never be blessed to live at home. So in someone's chart, this is very auspicious. No family happiness, never be able to live at home, all of that. But for a devotee, it's very fortunate. Even I also was with Lokanath Maharaj on the Padayatra, and when we were in Allahabad, there was one member who was also a member of parliament, and his hobby was reading palms. So of course he had to read the palms of all the devotees. And so he's dusting off the palms and reading. So he looked at my palm. He said, is your father still alive? I said, no. He said, did he leave you any money? I said, no. How are you living? How am I living? I don't know. Not a problem. Why? He said, you have a good brain, but you can never use it to make any money. I also read a palm one time. I didn't know anything about palmistry, but I was on a train, and in India, there were these 2 girls. One girl said, could you read my palm? And she figured if I'm a sannyasi or a sadhu, can you read your palm? I said, let me see. So I looked at her palm very carefully. I can see from your palm that if you chant Hare Krishna, your life will be sublime. we can confidently make these predictions. Is that okay? Okay. Something else? Yes.
Maharaj, when gopis complained that Krishna's body, without ornaments, it is radiating lights. So, is that Brahmajyoti light or what? Which effulgence is coming? Can we call it Brahmajyoti effulgence?
Yes, it's described that Krishna's effulgence, yasya prabha prabhavata jagadanda koti. All the planets are floating in the bodily effulgence of Krishna. Yasya prabha, his effulgence. Of course, that effulgence is not manifested the same way to the Brajvasis or the devotees. What is that? Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapitam mukam. The Lord's form is concealed by that effulgence from the impersonalists. The impersonalists are very keen to reach the effulgence of Godhead, to merge with the absolute truth, the one supreme, undifferentiated absolute, which is essentially Krishna's Brahmajyoti effulgence. But the devotee prays, please remove that effulgence so that I can see your transcendental face, such as Yapitam Mukham. So for the devotees, they don't see the glaring rays of the effulgence that pervades the universe. Everything's adjusted. They see a nice transcendental glow, maybe a little bright enough to steal yogurt and butter by when required. That's even in our experience, if a person is in the mode of goodness or spiritually advanced, they're effulgent. They have, even and people who are like in ignorance, they have their own. They sort of broadcast this darkness or this, what should we say, this kind of ominous, dark energy. Not literally black, but they're surrounded by something, so that people. You don't have to be right there. I mean, first of all they spread the fragrance of Jack Daniels. But apart from that, you can see that they spread an atmosphere of madness, of craziness, of stupidity and darkness. And a saintly person will naturally be effulgent. And so many devotees and even non-devotees saw that Srila Prabhupada was conspicuously effulgent. Conspicuously, he glowed. I mean, not in a what would you say? Not like a phosphorescent clock or something, but he was bright, effulgent. So Krishna also was effulgent in perfection as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. And from his effulgence, all the universes are in his effulgence, all the universes are found. That's special. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is more of a comment.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a comment on what you're sharing about the effulgence.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather Harivilas Prabhu, he received initiation from Prabhupada, not in person. And so when he met Prabhupada, he said that he was envisioning, oh, he's going to be radiant like Jesus Christ, or, something like this. But he said that when Prabhupada came off the tarmac at the airport, he was stunned, and he said that he could understand that this person was greater than Jesus Christ, because his effulgence was like so much, and he was radiant, and he said that he was golden. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. And one time at Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada was in after the greetings of the deities, he was turning around Radha Madhav and Astasaki. And one moment he looked the devotee who was jumping, and he started to jump, and also all devotees, they said that his aura was golden, so effulgent, golden.
Yes.
Very strong, like
Yes.
permanently. For
So many devotees have remarked.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I don't know if you hear this
A
story.
little closer, maybe.
When Prabhupada was landing in Frankfurt, I think it was 1974, I'm not sure. But there was also normal public people present there. I don't know if you hear the story. And when he came out from the airplane, and also this normal people, they described then later on that the whole airport was glowing. The whole airport. It was like the sun appeared.
Yeah.
The devotees saw it, but also normal
Yeah.
public people as well.
There's some story, I forget where, that man is glowing.
With the policeman, I think.
Policeman, right? Hey, that man is glowing. It was conspicuous. And at the same time natural. Just naturally effulgent. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just to add a comment before my question, His Holiness Karamakanana Swami often tells a story about Prabhupada's effulgence being measured on a German light measurement machine, where someone was, they had a fancy equipment to measure the light, and they'd asked everyone to turn the lights off, and all of a sudden the machine just went bing right to the end, and they were looking what switched on, and they realized it's just Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's effulgence is measured on a German light.
Well, if it's measured on a German machine, it has to be.
My question is
Scientific.
about Brahmanda Ghat, where the pastime takes place, where Mother Yashoda looks into Krishna's mouth. And there's a footage of Prabhupada visiting there with the devotees. And I was wondering whether you were at that
No,
visit.
I was not in India in those days. I hadn't come to India until later. Probably Gurudas, Jamuna, maybe Kaushalya. I don't know who else was, maybe Yadavar, Nishaka, the early India crew. You know, as there's an early New York crew, Brahmananda, Gargamuni, Satsvarup Maharaj, and so on. And an early San Francisco crew. So there's an early India crew who were very fortunate they got so much association with Srila Prabhupada. I wasn't part of that. I was back in America at the press. So, yeah, I wasn't there.
And I have another question that struck me. They're doing the ceremony in secret, the naming ceremony, because you don't want Kamsa to know. But doesn't Kamsa already know because he's sending all these demons and they're finding Krishna and they're trying
Yeah,
to...
he already knew. But it seemed that they were, of course, Gargamuni could have known that, I suppose, also, because he's supposed to be all-knowing. But at least, we know what Krishna wants us to know. Even Prabhupada said that if I'd known that this Mr. Nair was such a cheater, I wouldn't have put money down for the land in Bombay. Said so, Krishna, it was Krishna's trick. So, yeah, you could figure it out that they ought to have known because Kamsa did already know. But it was taken that he didn't know. And so we don't want him to find out. Just in international politics, sometimes we act in such a way as not to disclose what's going on. Even though, in fact, our enemy already knows. The Germans had the codes for the Americans had the code, the British and the Americans had the codes for the German ciphers, but the Germans didn't know that. So they were guarding them very carefully, and they were also very confident that we can send our messages encrypted. Meanwhile, the Allies were reading everything. So as far as Nanda and Vasudeva and Gargamuni were concerned, we don't want Kamsa to find out, but he already knew. Anything else? Yes. I quoted you in my class the other day, by the way, where I cited you.
Maharaj, there's a point you're mentioning now, right now, that the Kansa was already new, but as far as my little understanding is concerned, this prophecy, when the child born out of, declare this prophecy that, your killer has already been born, something. So this Kansa got perturbed that, the real danger is already born, so it must be somewhere around. So he gave order to all the, this people to search out all those newborn babies, and so somehow he has idea that his enemy has already been
That
born.
was the first thing, but I think Narada told him, right? Narada filled him in. This is what's going on. Oh, that's later that Narada fills him in. Afterwards, Narada fills him in. Yeah, so he knew something's going on, but he didn't know quite what.
Sure about which one and where and what.
Wasn't sure, so sending his demons indiscriminately. Yeah, thank you. Clarifies that.
And Maharaj, one more point I would like to understand from you. That just you mentioned that when a child is born and he's crawling, he's he's doing little activities, and parents see and they get pleasure out of it. Oh, my child is doing this, my child is doing that, like that. Little small things which gives so much pleasure to a materially smeared person. Energy is smeared. So in Nanda Maharaj case, Yashoda Maharani case, they were also taking sort of pleasure out of it. So is it Maya? You mentioned this is Maya. So is it Maya, or is it transcendental bliss, or what is what?
When the parents are taking pleasure in all the things that have to do with the child, that's Maya. Yeah. And in fact, this is not my child. He's a spirit soul. He's moving from one body to another under illusion. I'm thinking he's my child. And it's actually not so great that he's changing bodies. It's a form of misfortune. So it's all illusion. But on the spiritual platform, when it's Krishna, the same thing becomes absolute. It's like Krishna's dancing with young girls. In the material world, that's Maya. But when Krishna's dancing with the gopis, that's the highest form of transcendental truth.
So how can it be a Maya, in presence of Krishna?
In the presence of Krishna?
Yeah. they might be unaware of the transcendental bliss and transcendental position of Lord Krishna. But I mean,
That's in the presence of Krishna. That Maya is Yoga Maya. That's, there's like good Maya and bad Maya. This is good Maya. They're attracted to Krishna because they see little teeth coming in and see him crawling. That's all transcendentally attractive. It may appear just like any child crawling and having his teeth come in, but because it's Krishna, it's transcendental. It may seem that the gopis are attracted to Krishna just because he's a beautiful young boy, but because it's Krishna, it's transcendental. So as soon as Krishna is there, then it's transcendental fact. And as soon as Krishna is not there, then it's the absence of transcendental fact, or the reflection of transcendental fact, perverted reflection. And that's Maya. Okay. Shall we do kirtan? Yes? I think we should. Yes, I was thinking of you.
Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai. Navadip Tham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Gangamai Ki Jai. Jamunamai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.